Tomorrow is the first presidential debate. And the big controversy is which drugs may be used tomorrow night. And I just want to, state for the record that I have no idea what drugs I will take when I watch the debate, but they will be potent and they will be plentiful.
Woo! They will be potent. They will be plentiful. He's one of Biden's coaches. Martin Short used to be a comedian. I think he's another Canadian. He's a Canadian. They got a lot of those. And Joe Biden will CNN sabotage Joe Biden to save the Democratic Party? How about that, huh? It's my friend Jeff. He said, well, if Jake Tapper and Dana Bash really wanted to help the Democrat Party, maybe what they'd do is sabotage Joe Biden so he has to be replaced. And they could put someone in there with a brain. Do they have anyone with a brain? Because they got Kamala. She's a WOC. She's a woman of color. Can't just run her over. Well, sure they can. Don't be silly. Don't you know who they are? Besides, they've got Hillary Clinton waiting in the wings. She's got a blow dart gun and a tomahawk. She borrowed it from, Elizabeth Warren. The tomahawk, of course. Pocahontas and all that. Well, happy Thursday and welcome. The big debate is tonight at long last. Very exciting for all of us. What will President Trump bring to the dance? What will Joe Biden bring to the dance? Joe Biden still holed up. President Trump still out and about talking to people, meeting with people, and he'll show up and he'll be President Trump and Joe Biden will show up and who knows who he will be because he's been in hiding, maybe a brain transplant, maybe, he's already had about $100,000 of plastic surgery on his face and then the hair plugs and all that stuff. It's all perfectly natural. Other than that, his arms still don't move naturally when he walks. But that's because his brain, she's a no good. That brain of his, no good at all. So the debate is tonight. And the New York Times, they're all over the story. They're a Democrat Party front group. And it's kind of remarkable. But the New York Times, they're planning on really covering this. Boy, are they going to cover this story. They're sending fact checkers. They've got fact checkers on the job. They're Democrat fact checkers. They're front men and women and some doubtless in between because it's the New York Times. But here's the headline from the New York Times. How the New York Times, and this is from them, how the New York Times is covering the presidential debates, plural, between Biden and Trump, the New York Times. And that's their headline. But if you look into it, what they have is more interesting than the headline. New York Times deploying, like it's a military invasion, deploying 29 fact checkers for Trump-Biden debate. They're deploying they're like a baby harp SEAL team or something like that. Not exactly SEAL Team 6, but maybe a baby harp SEAL team, and they can go club the little babies to death because they love that. Oh, another kind of a leak out of the Supreme Court yesterday having to do with the Democrats' favorite topic, and that is abortion. Not clear that, and Idaho, specific to the state of Idaho. And it looked like somebody, posted the decision or what appears to be the decision on a Supreme Court case online, and it has to do with abortion. What a shock. I wonder who could have put that out there. And then they pulled it back real quick. Didn't mean to have that out there, but I'll get into that too. Right now, the New York Times will be deploying 29 fact checkers to CNN's debate between President Biden and former President Trump on Thursday. You read that correctly. 29. That's the Daily Caller writing there. And remarkable stuff. 29 fact checkers. But wait, it gets better. The fact checkers will join an additional 31 reporters. 31 reporters. So we got 29, we got 31. That's 120, I think. And that's government math, Washington math. The fact checkers will join an additional 31 reporters. Aren't reporters fact checkers? Isn't that what reporters do? Aren't they kind of interchangeable like your underwear in a hot tub. Honestly, the fact checkers will join an additional 31 reporters and editorial staff of the Times that will be used to cover the landmark debate. The paper revealed. This is the New York Times. They said it themselves. They're bragging. And they're all there for Trump, which is kind of ironic. They're not going to fact check Biden, even if he says that he was a hero of the Naval Academy and the champion quarterback, and they won the national championship, and that he personally shot Osama bin Laden in Abbottabad, Castellostan, and just amazing stuff. So given that outsized number, one might assume it would be wise to split them up evenly. 15 for Trump, 14 for Biden, right? But come on, folks, come on, man. Oh, speaking of which, do you have your drinking game ready? Is your drinking game for the debate in order? Because people are pulling together drinking games for the debate. I have friends pulling together drinking games, keywords that will prompt you to take a drink. It's very Irish, but never mind that. But the Daily Caller continues, do we really think all 29 of them will be impartial? Sure, maybe a few will call balls and strikes. I think not a chance. But given the paper's history with so-called fact checks, I'm not going to hold my breath. That's the writing at the Daily Caller. Great stuff. And it is Robert McGreevy writing the story at the Daily Caller. Yeah, this is just a mob of New York Times miscreants who love abortion and hate Israel and America too, and they're anti-capitalist as long as they're making a lot of money. It's kind of funny. Democrat world is not where normal people live. Remarkable stuff. And here's a fun one from the Fox News. I'll get back to that in more detail because there's a lot to talk about on the debate tonight, of course, as you might expect. Extraordinary stuff. President Trump coming in calm, cool, collected, won't take the bait, recognizes that all the media wants is one negative soundbite of Donald Trump and one positive soundbite of Joe Biden, and then the media is all set. That's what they want. Then they'll ignore everything else because nothing matters except the Democrat Party's objectives and goals. And, they got the deck stacked all over the place. But it is my friend Jeff with a fun idea. If the Democrats really do want to get rid of Biden, and a great many of them do, this might be an opportunity. And Jake Tapper and Dana Bash could help the Democrat Party by making sure that Biden is tripped up to the point. I don't know if that, I don't think that's going to happen, but it would be hilarious if it did happen, I've got to say. That would be fun. In the way that some peculiar things are fun these days. And politics is not supposed to be this big a part of our lives in the United States of America. But the left commies burning our cities, attacking the police, attacking Jews. Who else are they attacking, Mike? Pretty much normal people. Normal people. Children who they want to turn into little sexual things and transgenderize them and LGBTQize them in kindergarten and okay. In fact, we got that Rachel Levine, the man that dresses like a lady admiral and has never been aboard a ship. That Rachel Levine person wants to make sure that in the whole world, there's no age limit on child genital mutilation. I remember when the State Department used to condemn child genital mutilation in beep-hole countries around the world, like Burkina Faso and Ouagadougou, their famous capital. And we would condemn child genital mutilation. And the Democrat Party has decided, if you can't beat them, join them. So they decided to join them. Pretty remarkable stuff. These people, can I just say, these people, they're not normal people, are they? Just crazy. Also today, I'm going to have Hung Kao on, Senate candidate in the Commonwealth of Virginia, Naval Academy grad, great military hero, and I'm going to have him on today. USA Today, a pretend newspaper, they got a hit piece on him today. I think with the collusion of Tim Kaine, his opponent, the Democrat. So we've got that, and I look forward to having Hung Kao on today to straighten the record out a bit when it comes to the latest hit piece, because when you're a Republican, Naval Academy grad family escape the commies in Vietnam, come to America, become this incredible success story. And the media attacks you because they're racists. And USA Today they're the designated racists today. My friend Mona out in California is actually visiting family in Oregon now. And Mona said they're pulling together their drinking game for tonight with, America-friendly family members, even though it's Oregon and stuff. And they're hoping for some good stuff. They got on their keywords for the drinking game. Dog-faced pony soldier. Got dog-faced pony soldier on there. Got come on, man. And no joke. Should throw in I'm not kidding, and no joke. But you can make your own drinking game with Joe Biden and with Donald Trump, too. Drinking game stuff. And they're always fun, drinking games, as long as you're not driving. You don't want to be driving anywhere. But that's fun stuff. So we've got that going, too. Amazing times we're in. And was telling you about a story yesterday. These economists who claim to be Nobel laureates in the economic sciences, and 16 of them signed on to a letter saying that if Donald Trump were elected, inflation would get real bad. Yeah, because it was 1.2% inflation when Donald Trump was president, and then 9.1% when Joe Biden took over the economy. So these frauds, these crooked alleged Nobel laureates in economics, they say, oh yeah, Donald Trump would make inflation real bad. Well, Axios reported the story with the 16 economists, and it turns out they left out a few things, a few details about the 16 economists. Fox News has the update on that. Monica Lewinsky, what's she famous for again? I know I haven't seen Monica in a long time. I did give her a ride home from work one night from the Pentagon to her home in the Watergate building in Washington. And she gave me a box of White House M&Ms, but that's not important now. Monica Lewinsky is an opinion maker now, and she wants Judge Eileen Cannon overseeing the Trump classified documents case. Monica Lewinsky wants her impeached. That is sexist. I don't know why they always get the women to attack the women and the black guy to attack the black guy. It's the Democrat Party. So, boy, she really is a loyal Democrat, isn't she? I tell you, from start to finish, that's pretty amazing stuff. She wants Judge Eileen Cannon, a very successful woman appointed to the bench by Donald Trump, and she's been very even-handed throughout this trial, accommodating and refuting what both sides have requested and on and on. But never mind that. Monica Lewinsky wants her out. There are a number of jokes in there. Several of them would not be appropriate for mixed company, polite company. But never mind that. Nate Silver is another Democrat. He crunches numbers on politics. He's been very popular in that realm for a long, long time. Nate Silver now gives Donald Trump he looks at all the polls and takes into account other factors, and then he comes to his conclusions. Nate Silver now gives Donald Trump a 66% chance of beating Joe Biden in the 2024 presidential race, as you might expect. 60, that's about, for Democrats, that's about two-thirds. That's about two-thirds of the likelihood. And how much does that leave Joe Biden with? I'll let you break out your calculators and work on that yourselves. Pretty amazing stuff. Also in six key swing states, according to yet another big poll, and don't put too much stock in polls, but never mind that, 6 key swing states, Trump holds an 11-point lead in who would better handle, listen to this now, threats to democracy. And then the Democrats come and burn your courthouse down, because that's what they do. In Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Wisconsin, and Georgia, President Trump with an 11-point lead. President Trump needs to just come in cool and steady tonight to the debate, not give CNN what they're looking for in their ambush, their setup. You know, they've got tiger pits with punji sticks in the bottom on the stage. Honestly, they're like the Kong. Got to look out for them. But when it comes to threats to democracy, an 11-point lead in these polls. And on the economy and on the border, President Trump doing very well in the polling numbers, as he should be, since Joe Biden is like a commie disaster who is here to destroy the world. Honestly, and then, the weaponization of our government, the FBI, the Justice Department, the CIA, the National Institutes of Health, the left. You know how the left are. So we got lots of amazing stuff for you today. The murder and apparent rape and murder of the 12-year-old girl in Texas. What's happening with that? The update there. And there's a lot. AOC is kind of in the news today. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and a whole bunch more. We are at 888-630-9625. And we have returned. I had a lot of moving parts today and a lot going on. And we're waiting for the Supreme Court to come down with rulings in addition to that apparent kind of accidental leak yesterday, abortion. But we will get to all of that, or as much of it as we can. Let's go to the telephones right now. Let's go to Paula calling from Frederick, Maryland. Paula, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Thank you so much, Chris. I've been listening to WMEL my whole life, so I'm just so excited to talk to you. Thank you. I'm just calling to tell you that I'm so tired of hearing everybody say that Joe Biden is too old or has dementia. I'm not even really hearing too many people say this, but I just believe that what's wrong with Joe Biden is it's all self-inflicted. No wonder he can't even form a sentence. Anyone that lies as much as he does eventually will get caught up in their own game. Lies, corruption, yeah, Chris. They had many years to do the right thing. It's all self-inflicted. What a mess they made. Chris, what the Biden family has done to themselves and to the American people is so awful. And it just breaks my heart. And just one more thing. Mm-hmm. I heard Molly Hemingway say, thank you. I heard Molly Hemingway say that Joe Biden has been a storyteller his whole life, and I agree with that. And you know what? He puts that smile on his face, and the Democrats are just blindsided by it. So
we know that behind closed doors, he curses out his staff and his employees, and he's abusive and vulgar and nasty. Then he comes out and he smiles and he lies. And then the media lies for him, and that's the most corrupt part of it all. The Democrats love Hamas, as we know. They love radical Islam because radical Islam also wants to destroy Western civilization, kill everyone and steal everything in it, just like the commies. And bloodthirsty, blood-drenched ghouls. They got a lot in common when you think about it. Smelly, bad hygiene. Hamas and the Democrat Party, they're all about supporting Hamas. And boy, they hate the Jews, don't they? Your Democrat Party. Kind of a funny story out of Gaza. Not a hilarious place most of the time, but every now and then they give us something funny. They're still holding hostages and abusing them, and they're using them as slaves. And the Democrats are okay with that because they're the party of slavery in the Confederate States of America and Jim Crow. But the headline from the Associated Press, and the Associated Press, they've been in bed with Hamas for years. Their headquarters, they had a headquarters in Gaza in a building where the Hamas leadership was found every day. The headline is, "In the searing heat of the Gaza summer," must be climate change, must be, because all agenda points come into play at all times on all stories. So if it's a hot day, then you have to focus on the climate, because, and it's, the desert in the Middle East. But never mind that. In the searing heat of the Gaza summer, Palestinians are surrounded by sewage and garbage. Well, maybe they should clean their stuff up. What do you think? We clean our stuff up. The civilized world cleans their stuff up. But these bloodthirsty, rapist, hostage-taking savages from a troglodyte hell Guess what? They live among filth and squalor. And if that's surprising to you, then you haven't been paying attention. But there it is. They live among sewage and garbage. And isn't that great? Dear Al-Bala, in Gaza, children in sandals. They always care very deeply about the children. And, transgender story hour for children and transgender surgery for children. When they say they care about children, they're lying. And then look what they do with their own children. Come on. I mean, keep these people away from the children. Children in sandals. Kids love sandals, don't they? Hey, my sandals are fun shoes. I've got fun sandals. Children in sandals trudge through water contaminated with sewage and scale growing mounds of garbage in Gaza. They're going to blame the Jews. I can feel it coming. Crowded tent camps. They've always lived in tent camps, haven't they? Their grandfathers only lived in tent camps, and they went from place to place from time to time. For displaced families, the tent camps for displaced families, people relieve themselves in burlap-covered pits. They relieve themselves. I think we can interpret what that means. With nowhere nearby to wash their hands. See, that's because they don't use toilet paper. You got to wash your hands, and that's a thing. It's, you squat over a pit, and then you use your hand to clean. Then you're supposed to go wash your hand. It's a different method that they've developed. Now, you have the Mediterranean Sea right there. Have you guys noticed that? There's a big, it's a big one. It's as seas go, and it's a good one. I've been on the Mediterranean Sea many, many times, including the beaches in Israel, which are not knee-deep in filth and squalor with burlap tents to relieve yourself, and where you do find facilities, they have something called toilet paper, which you guys ought to think about here in the 21st century. I know it's going to be some time before you catch up to the rest of us, but great stuff. In this stifling summer heat, got to be caused by climate change, Palestinians say the odor and filth surrounding them, I had to pause there for a second, is nothing new, is just another inescapable reality of war and of culture and lack of progress. Because while the rest of the world was galloping forward, what were you guys doing? Using your hands. That's what. Like pangs of hunger or sounds of bombing. Well, you guys should stop attacking the Jews, you genocidal lunatics. How about that? And you shouldn't attack an enemy, your enemy, whose extermination you are dedicated to. An enemy that is so much more powerful than you are because you're going to get your medieval butt kicked. And that's what's happening here. So the territory's ability to dispose of garbage, treat sewage, and deliver clean water, all done by the Jews, by the Israelis, until you attacked them, and providing you electricity that you really don't deserve and would live entirely without were it not for Israel being there, has been virtually decimated by 8 brutal months of war, started by you guys, war between Israel and Hamas, that you guys, again, instigated, a fight you picked but couldn't win because you're too stupid as individuals and as a cluster, as a group, as a culture. This has made grim living conditions worse and raised health risks for hundreds of thousands of people deprived of adequate shelter, food, and medicine, aid groups say. Thing is, aid groups there, they spread AIDS. That's kind of a weird thing, isn't it? And monkeypox. Just kidding, I made the last part up. Maybe. Hepatitis A cases are on the rise, and doctors fear that as warmer weather arrives, what was summer coming to the desert in the Middle East and everything, an outbreak of cholera is increasingly likely. That reminds me that, tuberculosis is now up 89% in Washington, D.C. I just read that story earlier this week to you, and that's the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And the Democrats are okay with that because, open borders come with a price, and children will be raped and murdered, and mothers of 5 will be raped and murdered, and 12-year-olds will be raped and murdered by, you see, one of the illegal aliens in Texas that raped and murdered the 12-year-old girl under a bridge for 2 hours. One of them was already wearing an ankle bracelet, had one of those, beep, beep, here's the criminal. And the Democrats are okay with that. And that means the news media is okay with it because, you know, if they lived in Gaza, they'd be right at home. Honestly, of course, most of them live in Georgetown and on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. But never mind that. Isn't that amazing? So they go on and on about what a beep hole Gaza is. You know, it was pretty much like that before. And then they attacked the much more powerful neighbor next door because they're genocidal maniacs. And now they're getting their butts kicked. And then the Associated Press, which again was in bed with them, with Hamas before all of this even started. And they've got, who's writing the story for the Associated Press? Well, it's Wafa Shurafa. Wafa Shurafa is writing, and Julia Frankel, who's just a leftist and probably Jewish, but hates Israel because, you know, Democrats. Aren't they amazing? Yes, they are. So many remarkable stories that the Democrats create. Hey, wait a minute. Things aren't going well for the radical Islamic jihadi terrorist group, the genocidal death cult that is Hamas, that attacked Israel, who just live in peace with Muslim neighbors and Arab neighbors and Christian neighbors and atheist neighbors and gay neighbors and straight neighbors. And those are the ones that the Democrat Party hates. They love the Gazaites. I know, they're Gazans. And, you know, it's never been a place that, oh, Gaza, the smell of the flowers in the air is so... No, it always smells like human feces there because, and don't shake hands with these guys, honestly. I know they're supposed to use their left hand to wipe their stuff away and then go wash their hands. But it turns out it was Israel that gave them fresh water, Israel that gave them electricity, Israel that gave them medicine, Israel that allowed them to live a 21st century life, and they attacked the source of everything good, you know, the patriarchy. And now you're reverting to form. And you only have to go back to their grandfather's day when, well, the rest writes itself, doesn't it? Speaking of Democrats, and, you know, so good luck, Gaza. You know, looks like you're dumber than you thought. How can you be dumber than you thought? Well, you know, they figured out a way. Here's another great story from the Democrats. Made me laugh out loud. I believe my best girl read this aloud to me today, and we were laughing on the couch this morning, having a banana and orange juice and things. Nearly half of American EV owners, we have to abbreviate everything. That's an electric vehicle, but everything must be an abbreviation, like in the Soviet Union and the NSA. That's another abbreviation. That's the National Security Agency. Nearly half of American EV owners want to switch back to gas-powered vehicle. Wow, isn't that amazing? McKinsey data shows. Sure, nearly half. I'm surprised it's only nearly half. And the rest live in Beverly Hills, I think. Or Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket, where we subsidize their charging station, the federal government, because people like Obama and Boltneck John Kerry live there. They got a lot of political pull, so they get millions of dollars so we can build in their electric vehicle charging stations. I like to call them EVCSs. I don't really. But there it is. A significant share of Americans who own an electric vehicle have buyer's remorse, according to new data, a Fox Business story. McKinsey and Company, the Mobility Consumer Pulse for 2024 released this month, found that 46% of electric vehicle owners in the United States, I got EV and US, I got all this stuff, say they were, quote, very likely to switch back to owning a gas-powered vehicle in their next purchase. Isn't that great? The high percentage of Americans who want to make a switch even surprised the consulting firm. I didn't expect that. The head of McKinsey's Center for Future Mobility, whose name is Philip Kamshoff, and Philip has two P's, which is kind of strange. Philip Kamshoff told Automotive News, I thought once an EV buyer, always an EV buyer. Well, I don't know why you thought that. The poll of nearly 37,000 consumers worldwide, Australia was the only country with a greater percentage, 49%, of electric vehicle owners than the U.S., who said they were ready to return to owning an internal combustion engine. I love my internal combustion engine and my supercharger and my slapstick transmission and my racing wheels. And, it's more fun than ever. And premium gasoline. Does premium gasoline burn dirtier or cleaner? I wonder. I don't care very much, but that's okay. And everywhere you look, madness, because of the left and Democrats. And boy, we've got a lot of crazy leftists here. And democracy is on the line this election, to say the least. We've got, the Democrats who are here to destroy the world because they're not really Democrats, are they? And they're certainly not liberals, are they? No. All right, I've got a lot more to get to, including civil war in France. Got to look out for a civil war in France. And gun violence, how to deal with gun violence. An amazing story, what we're teaching in schools now because of gun violence. Wait till you hear this. Right now, let's go back to the telephones. Let's go to Randy calling from Bluemont, Virginia. Randy, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, thanks for taking my call. I had a brilliant idea last night. I want to see if you've got a channel to President Trump to ask him to take a moment of silence as his first moment in the debate for all the horrific crimes that we've had committed by you-know-who.
By illegal aliens and the illegal alien gang members that the Democrats have waved into our country to murder and rape?
Yep, use his first moment as a moment of silence and watch the explosions and the heads blow up.
That is actually a really fun idea, I've got to say. And I saw on the screen, Trump should call for a moment of silence. And I said, well, what does Randy want to talk about from Bluemont, Virginia? And you're right. First of all, and if he stopped the proceedings and said, first of all, I'd like to have and say a minute of silence. Say a minute.
A full minute of silence as my first minute in this debate.
And he could even start listing the names of the people murdered by illegal aliens, the victims of illegal aliens, Laken Riley and Ruby Garcia, and the list is long. I should actually have a list pinned up on the wall next to me here because it's grown to the point where it's, committing the name of every member of the New York Yankees to memory and listing them off. And honestly, the woman in Maryland that was out for a jog, a little hike, and raped and murdered by Rachel Morin, and the list is long and growing every day. And the news media doesn't care because they're front for the Democrat Party. But I got to say, Randy, that is a fun idea. And if President Trump did that, well, then you'd have to take credit for it. But, you asked if I've got a channel to President Trump. You've got a channel to President Trump. You just said it on this radio show, which is heard around the galaxy. And I hope that someone brings that to him. All right. The headline of the Washington Times today, their lead story, sidestepping hazards, seen key to Trump debate victory. Strategists anticipate political traps, ambush. That's what you get when you're a Republican going into a presidential debate, whether it's Trump or anybody else. When you're a Democrat, you anticipate a tongue bath and a fluff job because Democrats. All right, it's good to be a Democrat. Let's take a phone call, Michael. Let's go to Glenn calling from Charleston, South Carolina. Glenn, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Well, ditto, Chris, and I hope you and your best girl are doing well.
We are.
You're on. Well, I'm glad to hear that. You're on a roll this morning. Sounds like you got your B12 shot before the show.
Taking my Prevagen, doing my Joe Biden diet.
Oh, buddy. Hey, J.D. Vance, who's under consideration for VP, I didn't realize he was the author of Hillbilly Elegy.
Yes.
Did you know that?
Yes.
It's quite a book. quite a book, quite a story.
It is.
That guy.
It is. His life story is incredible.
It is. I watched a barbershop business roundtable out of Atlanta yesterday that was broadcast by a little company out of Auburn, Alabama. You might know who I'm talking about. But it was excellent. It was excellent. Ben Carson was there, and Byron Donalds, and another black congressman, and it was really, really informative. And it was kind of in your face to the Democrats. One last thing here. Now, I agree with Randy. A solid minute of silence.
Yeah.
And but I think Trump could suck the oxygen out of the room if he just took time and announced his VP candidate tonight in the midst of that debate. Okay, I think that would be it would change the whole dynamic of the evening.
It certainly would. You're absolutely right about that. It would, and if he did that, it would blow up the whole narrative that the media has already set in place before the debate begins.
Exacto mundo, buddy.
Yeah.
And, these journalists, I think they went to the Joseph Goebbels School of Journalism. They need to take an oath, just like a doctor, do no harm. When I was in the service, you took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. When they if they graduate from journalism school, just simply tell the truth. That's all. Just tell the truth.
That's an excellent idea, too. The right to search for truth implies also a duty. One must not conceal any part of what one has recognized to be the truth, as Albert Einstein said. And that is that should be on every newsroom wall.